What's good, y'all? It's Icon here to do more Supergirl and Batwoman episodes 4. Yeah, I believe we're up to episodes 4 now. So let's just get this started. And first, I believe we're going to start with Batwoman. So for this episode of Batwoman, we have a new villain, and it is Magpie. I remember Magpie from Beware the Bat, and that's actually good because, like, let's be real, like, you can't fight Alice in every episode. And, like, there has to be new villains at some point. And Kate even said that. She was just like, listen, in order for the city to have faith in the Bat, she was like, I need to prove to the city that they can trust me. And she said that the only way for them to trust me is to take down, a villain and prove herself, prove her worth. Kate goes to investigate. She bumps into Magpie. Magpie gets away with the artifact, and then Kate tries to throw the Batarang at her. The Batarang, she misses. Magpie goes out the window. The Batarang comes back. Kate misses it, and it breaks a vase. The news reporter or the talk show host, the radio personality, whoever the woman is, I can't remember her name. Obviously, she's just trying to drum up news and she's trying to get a story, get eyes on her blog, her radio show, whatever she's doing. But it's just like, it gets annoying because first she's like, oh, it's Batwoman, everybody, finally a sexy woman in a bat suit, looks good. And then the next day she's like, oh, do we need insurance for, it's just like either root for her or don't root for her. But anyway, so Kate wakes up, she's still, she's having relations with the blonde girl from the party in the previous episode. She's trying to date that person, and she's trying to figure out how Bruce struggled with living the double life, and like Luke said, well, Bruce had the Playboy thing going for her. Kate's whole thing is she's kind of like a one-woman person, so lying, she ends up having to keep coming up with excuses for why she has to leave. Like the girl even said, she was like, oh, you came over to my house really late, and now you're leaving before breakfast. So there's like a struggle there. Kate goes to Wayne Tower, and there's an exhibit crew there. They're taking pictures of Martha Wayne's pearl necklace because they have a show coming up, and I guess the necklace is supposed to be on display at the museum because Martha's being honored. There's a photographer there who's taking pictures. She's taking pictures of everything, all the stuff in the room, and they're ready to get everything, and they're trying to get everything set up for the exhibit with the Wayne pearls. Magpie ends up breaking into Wayne Enterprises and she steals the pearls. She beats up Luke and steals the pearls. So Kate's not happy about that. They find out where Magpie's hideout is. Kate ends up going in there. She gets some information. She steals some information from her computer. She finds the pearls. She takes the pearls. Before she went in, Luke told her that, the whole room was like pressurized and, don't breathe and this, that, and third. She accidentally sneezed, the room explodes, but she got the pearls. So we're cool because she got the pearls. The guy who Kate kidnapped, this is like episode 2, like the dude, like she was working for Alice. I think that was Alice's boyfriend. Yeah. The rogue cop who tried to get homegirl killed. I can't remember her name. Tried to get the ex-girlfriend killed. Sophie, that's her name. So, yeah, so Kate had him. She had him tied up. Remember, he was hanging from the ceiling, and she was like, punching him in the ribs or whatever. Come to find out, that dude's still hung up. I forgot all about him. So Fox basically tells her, like, listen, like, this dude's dying. You've had him for like 3 weeks. She goes to Mary, who has her underground doctor's office, and she, dressed as Batwoman, and she tells Mary, to try to save this guy because she needs information. She ends up using the voice modulator a la Arrow. And which makes her voice sound pretty badass. So Mary's responsible for saving the guy who betrayed everyone and tried to kill her. So now we fast forward to the party. We're at the party now. Kate's at the party. Her not girlfriend, the girl she's dating, the blonde girl shows up at the party because Kate invited her to the party. The Martha Wayne's pearls are at the party. Kate shows up. She's talking to the blonde. They're having a conversation. And then they do the whole presentation where they're honoring Martha Wayne with the pearls. And then Luke and Kate find out that the pearl, because Kate's whole thing is she has the pearls. Like the pearls are in Wayne Manor. And there are pearls sitting on the mannequin, of the thing. So Luke finds out that the pearls that are being displayed to everybody are actually bombs that are rigged to explode. Each individual piece. So while Kate and the blonde girl are next to each other watching the thing. Once Kate realizes that she dips, you know, and that's pretty much what Bruce Wayne did too, because Kate keeps trying to come up with excuses. First she was like, oh, the pipes broke in Wayne Tower, you know, like she has to do certain things. She kept coming up with excuses. Bruce never came up with excuses. Like Bruce just flat out dipped. Like if Bruce was dating a chick, like Clark used to do the same thing. It's like if they were dating somebody, Clark had a better reason because he was a reporter. So if something happened, if they were like, wow, Clark, an explosion, like, and he dipped, people would be like, oh, so he obviously ran to go check out the explosion. Bruce didn't care because he's like, look, I'm Bruce Wayne, I'm rich, bitch. So he's like, like his whole thing was like, what are you gonna do? You gonna get mad at Bruce Wayne? Like Bruce would just flat out just ghost on chicks and with no explanation. And that's what Kate did here. Like she ghosted on her. She put the costume on. You know, Magpie shows up. You know, her and Kate end up fighting. The pearls, you know, Magpie releases the pearls, and then Kate, because the bat suit is bulletproof, Kate uses her cape to shield the crowd from, you know, from the bombs, and like she protects them from the explosions or whatever. And then while she's doing that, Magpie tries to get away. So Kate runs outside. There's one pearl that was rolling towards this little girl. She runs outside. She protects the little girl from the explosion. After that, everyone's safe. The pearls are, you know, like the pearl explosions are over. You see Magpie climbing up on top of a building. Kate shoots her with the grappling hook. And I thought Kate was going to shoot the wall with the grappling hook, and then she was going to fly up there and punch the girl in the face. Kate deadass shot the girl with the grappling hook and yanked her to the floor, and then she went crashing into the pool, which I was just like, all right, gangsta. But, yeah, so that's how they got Magpie, and, you know, the Batwoman is now, you know, is a hero. And it was kind of cool because everybody literally, the whole town literally watched her take down this criminal. So it's like, it's not like it's like, oh, this mysterious shadow thing that nobody knows about. Batwoman, everybody watched Batwoman flat out take down a criminal. So her name, there's respect put on her name in the good graces of Gotham City. You know, Kate puts the suit back, you know, she takes the suit off. She goes and finds, you know, her blonde girlfriend. The girl ends up telling her she got caught in a lie because Kate told her that she was like, hey, you know, there was a crisis. What happened to you? And then she was just like, my bad. I had to go take a call. And then, you know, and then she was just like, yeah, but, you know, she was like, I tried to call you. She's like, I tried to call you when everybody was running outside. And then Kate was like, yeah, my bad. I guess I didn't get reception. But she was like, bitch, you just said you was on a phone call. So, so the girl was just like, look, like, I don't want to be played. She's like, I like you, but obviously there's some stuff going on with you that you can't tell me. So since you can't tell me, you know, I guess it's best we break it off. And Kate was like, yeah, because I don't want to lie to you either. I like you, but I can't do this. So they basically broke up, and that whole situation is over. You know, she went to Sophie for like once the episode just to get some information. Sophie helped her out. That's how she found Magpie. Sophie helped her out, and then the two of them walked away. Sophie didn't really do a lot in this episode. So you know, so that was it. So Batwoman. You know, so Batwoman now, like, you know, she's the toast of Gotham, like, you know. And I like when Kate puts the costume on, because like Kate Kane and Batwoman, like, they do feel like two different people. Like when I look at Kate, when I look at Batwoman, I don't feel like I'm looking at Kate Kane in a Batwoman costume. She actually does feel like a completely different person. So the fact that people can't make the connection makes perfect sense. But Sophie's actually the only one that kind of can make the connection, because she keeps bringing up like, oh, you know, I heard Batwoman was also after Magpie, and, you know, like, and then Kate told Fox, she was like, yeah, I think Sophie knows I'm Batwoman. But you know, but Sophie would know. You know, Sophie would know because she's known her the longest out of anybody that's involved. So on to Alice, who she had a little side mission. She was basically stalking Catherine, who's the stepmom, and she was, you know, basically like haunting, because remember, she left the cards with the numbers on them in the last episode, and she was telling Catherine, she was like, you know, I'm coming for you, and she was like, you know, like you know, like, I know your secret, and, you know, I'm gonna expose your secret, whatever. And then at the end, you find out that, you know, Catherine actually tried to silence her. She sent some people to go after her, and the people that Catherine sent, you know, Alice chopped one of the dude's fingers off, and then everybody's like, yo, I ain't messing with Alice. And then you know, Catherine, she was stuck at that point. She was like, listen, she's like, screw it, the only thing I got left is the truth. And, you know, and then she didn't want her husband to find out, so she just flat out told him, she was like, listen, because back then, because you were distraught over Beth's death, because Kate was distraught over Beth's death, she was like, I basically lied about the search. She paid some scientists to say that they found, like, because then, you know, he went back to it too, because when she brought up, you know, she was like, you know, like, I was the one that I faked. She's like, I faked Catherine basically was like, I faked Beth's death, and then he was like, but what about the skull fragments? And then she was like, look, I paid a scientist to lie and say that those were Beth's skull fragments. She was like, there was really nothing. They were the skull fragments from like a dead animal. And she was like, I basically lied to you about her disappearance, about her being dead, because she's like, I wanted you to move. You couldn't find her. You were going crazy, and I wanted you and Kate to both move on. So obviously he got pissed, and he was like, yo, get out. And I kind of knew that. Like I knew she had something to do with it. I actually thought because Beth is kind of crazy, she's a little kooky. I actually thought Catherine was the one responsible. I thought, see, my whole prediction was maybe the military and Catherine paid the military, like they took Beth and tried to turn her into like a weapon, and then it didn't work, and now she's like after revenge for everybody. But no, but basically she just hid her death. So I don't keep saying her death. She hid her being alive, so the dad would drop the situation and he could move on. So now he's pissed. Everybody pissed. Who knows? He didn't even tell Kate yet, so who knows if he tells Kate? But yeah, but I like where Batwoman's headed, because there's a lot more mystery here. We're supposed to get an Alice backstory pretty soon, which I'm really excited to see. But but at this point, where I am at this point, and then Kate also brought up the fact that she's turning Wayne Enterprises into a real estate firm, because her buying up buildings and everything is a good cover for her, so people aren't questioning what she's doing with her life and where she is 24 hours a day. But at this, so we're getting close to where the Green Arrow, the Flash, and Supergirl came to Gotham to and she confronted them. So I want to see at what point. Because right now we're just watching like old stuff. We're watching like the past. We're watching flashbacks. We're not in present day with Batwoman yet. So I'm waiting for us to get caught up to present day, and that'll obviously be when the crisis happens. But until then, I'm very interested in seeing Batwoman interact with other villains. We got a Riddler reference in the last episode. We got a Killer Croc reference. I want to see other villains. Like I want to see villains come in. I want to see Batwoman take down villains, and then obviously we can lead up to the end of the season with the final showdown between her and Alice. But definitely a good episode of Batwoman, and I'm looking forward to episode 5 coming up soon. So episode 4 of Supergirl. It starts where we left off last time, where Kelly ends up, being removed from the city because Malekith, or Malekith, they keep calling him Malekith, but Malekith, he's looking for her, because she can see him, and he's a threat, and she has information. So James and Kelly, they end up going to like their old aunt's house somewhere deep in the I don't even know, they didn't even really say where it was, but I guess it's like in the outskirts of the city pretty much. The two of them get there, and they arrive at their aunt's house. They see their old town, and there's a lot of changes. The town doesn't seem the same. They built a prison, and when they get to their aunt's house, they find out that there's some kids that are squatting in their aunt's house. I missed the part. I don't know if they said that the aunt was dead or if she just wasn't around, but wherever she is, she's gone, and some new kids, and like I said, kids are basically like squatting in her home. So they chase them out. James and Kelly go to the store. They end up finding one of the kids who ended up squatting in the house. They talk to him, bring him back to the house, make him some food, find out where his parents are. And he tells him that, like his dad left him, and his mom got arrested for trying to steal a heater. And despite the fact that she got busted for stealing a $30 heater, they put her in prison for 10 years, which is weird, because that's like such a low, like petty crime. So the judge, he's like, the judge didn't listen to her situation, whatever. So, James said that when he was a child, he used to work at the local newspaper. That's how he got his start. So he goes back to the local newspaper. He sees the guy that he used to work for, and he's just like, hey bro, like how come you're not publishing, the injustice that's going on, with people, with what the prison's doing, like the prison's doing a lot of bad things. And it's like, how come nobody's like putting them on blast? And then you come to find out that, it's one of those situations where the guy said that the prison pretty much brings in a lot of revenue. It brings in a lot of money to the town. So he doesn't want to blast them, because if he goes after the prison, then the sponsors will pull out, people will go after him, and then, people that work for him, they'll lose their jobs. They won't have any money, like they have families to support. So he's just like, it's better off for us just to keep quiet, and not say anything about it. James ends up, well, obviously that doesn't work for him. So he tries to figure out a way that he could help, because remember, he quit Catco. And then, in the end, he ends up, not only does he get the boy a lawyer to help get his mom out of prison, James ends up buying the local paper. So I'm like, how much money does he have? James ends up buying the local paper, and he's going to be the editor in chief. You know, I mean, because the woman who now owns Catco, who fired him, you know, she can prevent him, I guess, from being a journalist, but she can't stop him from owning, owning a newspaper. She can't stop him from owning a media outlet. You know, so that's what he's gonna do. It's like, so he's gonna be the owner. The kid who he helped out, he gave him his camera, and the kid's gonna be the camera person, for his paper. He didn't name the thing, but that's how they got James off of the show, because Makad Brooks said that he was leaving the show, and he's gonna go back to his old hometown, and he's gonna be he's gonna create the news out there. And I guess it's gonna be Guardian versus the politicians who run the who run the prison, because he's gonna fight to take down corruption in the prison. Now, I mean, I was always a huge fan of the James Olson character. Like, I was a huge fan of Makad Brooks. Like, I enjoyed when he played Guardian, and I'm gonna miss having the actor on the show. I mean, the one thing I will say about his exit, it would have been cool. It would have been really cool if one of the kids who was squatting in his aunt's house, if the kid was Mal Duncan. And they did this thing where, although James is going to stay in the city to help the people of the city and help, clean up the corruption, it would have been cool if there was like a young black kid that he was helping out named Mal Duncan, and Mal ended up taking the Guardian suit and going back to National City with Kelly to become the new Guardian. I thought that would have been like a really cool twist, because at least then we get to keep the Guardian character, although James isn't a part of it. Because in Young Justice, Mal Duncan was the Guardian, and he took over the Guardian from the original Guardian, who was the clone of Jim Harper. So if you follow Young Justice, but that's it. But it is going to be sad not to have the Guardian character. Supergirl. Throughout the entire episode, like, Supergirl, she's still investigating William, the douchebag, the douchebag reporter, along with because both her and Dreamer, they think that he's responsible for the deaths. Like there was like the rich tech guy that he rolled up on at the club, and then there was this other woman named Elena, because Dreamer found out that William was headed to Mexico. So between the guy dying, and then the doctor who died, from the Spider-Woman, they thought that William was the person responsible for these people's deaths. So they were just like, maybe he's the hitman, or he's the killer, or he knows something. So Kara followed him to Mexico, and I thought that was a little, and I have an issue with her not so much that she followed him to Mexico. The problem that I have with her following him to Mexico is that she showed up in Mexico dressed as Kara Danvers. Like, she didn't have on a wig. She wasn't wearing a hat. She wasn't even wearing a hoodie. She was just walking around, Kara Danvers. And I'm just like, you don't think he's not going to find it weird that you followed him all the way to Mexico and you got there before he did? I'm like, she's dangerously putting herself in situations where he could potentially find out that she's Supergirl. But, but moving on. So they end up finding out that, the woman, there was a woman, Elena, who lived in the city, who lived in Mexico, and she ended up missing. Like, she found, they later find out that William ended up, like, they thought William killed her, but but to come to find out, he faked her death to get her out of the city. The actual person who tried to kill Elena shows up. It was like some wind lady. Kara ends up taking on the wind person. They have the wind person in lockup. They later find out that William isn't the one responsible, because like Dreamer and Kara, like, they found out where he lives. Like, they find out his apartment, like his secret apartment, his offshore accounts, and Kara investigates. She shows up to the dude's house dressed as Supergirl, and then when William comes back, she's Kara Danvers again. And I'm just like, you're getting really close to this dude finding out your secret identity. So anyway, they have a conversation, and he's just like, listen, he's not a douchebag, like, he's not a bad person, because remember, we saw him feeding homeless people. He's from London, and he's came to National City to investigate the woman who bought Catco. So she's his target. He's there to try to bring her down, and because he believes that she's the one responsible for killing all these people. Because at this moment, we don't know why all these people are being targeted and who's targeting them. He feels that she's the one that's doing it, so he's investigating her. He apologizes to Kara, for being a douchebag, and then he's just, she's like, let me help you, and he's like, I don't want you to get caught up, and she's like, bro, I could take care of myself. So William, he's not a bad person. He's actually a good person, and the interesting plot now is, why is he investigating the owner of Catco? Like, what does she have to do with all this? Because she's under, like, right now she's under the microscope. So I'm actually interested in this now, because I want to see what part she plays, in this whole thing, because people are actually dying, and I like to find out what she's killing all these people for. So John ends up, he's still on the hunt for Malika Ak. In the beginning of the episode, they try to take him down. They try to pull a ruse. The ruse doesn't work. They try to get him in the Phantom Zone, and the Phantom Projector doesn't work. So Alex is upset because she's like, oh, he could kill Kelly. Brainy's malfunctioning because he has his his breakup with Dreamer on the mind. So he's not really doing a good job of fixing the equipment and the tech. Like his calculations are a little bit off. So they end up bringing in Lena to help with the projector. Malika Ak ends up breaking into the DEO. He takes over Alex's mind. He goes to Jean as Alex and basically reads him the riot act about how, like, you're a liar and, like, you wiped your brother's memories. And because remember, like, Jean didn't tell anybody except Dreamer about the whole thing with his brother. So she's like, oh, you're a liar, and like, you're a monster, Jean. And he's all upset, and he's like, no. And then he talks to Supergirl, and then he's just like, yeah, like, I was wrong to lie to you people, and I'm glad that Nina told Alex the truth. And then Kara's like, well, Nina was with me all day, so she never spoke to Alex. And then John's like, oh crap. Like, that's Malika Ak. So Malika Ak, he took over Alex's mind. And he took this gun. There's a gun that the original Hank Henshaw used to kill Martians. So Alex has the gun now. She tells Jean, meet me at the theater where they talk about the Martian history. So Jean shows up at the theater. They're showing a video about how the Martian Manhunter's like the last Martian, and then he throws into the video, he's like the last Martian and a traitor to the people, which I thought was really funny. But then when Alex shows up under mind control, she has the gun in her hand, getting ready. She's blasting. She's shooting him with this gun that's supposed to kill Martians. And the whole time I'm thinking to myself, why are none of these people leaving the theater? Because the moment, like, crazy white girl in a combat suit shows up, starts blasting this black guy with a gun, I'm getting up and I'm running out of the theater. Everybody was just sitting there. So I'm like, are they watching the show? Like, I didn't get what was going on. Come to find out, what happens was Malika Ak was also in the he was in the stands, disguised as someone else. He ends up he was mind controlling everybody in the theater, and all of them had guns. So when Jean ends up breaking Alex free of the mind control, Supergirl shows up, like the people that Malika Ak's controlling, they're firing at everybody. They got a force field around them, protecting them. And then, the plan now is, to try to, save the people. And so Supergirl saves the people. They save Alex because she had a bomb strapped to her vest. And then when Malika Ak is defeated, he tries to go for the projector. John beats him to the projector and then blasts him into the Phantom Zone. And the Malika Ak storyline seemingly has come to an end. Earlier in the episode, Lena, when they asked Lena to help them fix the projector because the projector wasn't working, she was just like, all right, cool. But she knows that because Malika Ak has mental powers, she can use those, in her Q-wave search to control people's minds. So what Lena did, which was very sneaky, so she agreed to help them fix the projector. Lena set up the projector to where when Jean blasted Malika Ak with the projector, it didn't send him to the Phantom Zone. It transported him to Lena's office in her secure, like, Martian, prison thing. So Malika Ak is now Lena Luthor's prisoner, and she's gonna do experiments on him to try to get his Q-wave secrets and find out how she can control people. So this will end very badly, and it's a little frustrating because I'm like, why is Lena still like? Why are you still mad? Like, it's like, okay, she lied to you about being Supergirl. So what? You know, and it's also, and the way that the relationship between like Lena and James ended, I thought that was really bad too, because I like the two of them together, and they haven't even had like, we're up to episode 4. Lena and James haven't even had a conversation. Like, she doesn't even know that he's gone. Like, it's like they just, like, 1 minute they went from, oh, I love you, like, you know, like, you're the love of my life, to now all of a sudden, like, you went from like boo to who in like 2 seconds. You know, which is kind of odd. That, I don't know. So anyway, Lena now has Malika Ott captive. She's gonna do her Q-Wave thing. James, well, he's like, call me Jimmy. So he's in his old town running the newspaper. Kara now knows that William isn't a third world douchebag, and he's actually investigating their boss. You know, Kelly's back. You know, Kelly came back. Alex and Kelly, you know, like they patched things up. And and Brainy and Nia, they kind of like, you know, they resurrected their little situation. And that was it. So pretty good episode, definitely a good episode. And again, like, you know, shout out to Makata Brooks for being the Black James Olson, and we'll see what happens next week, episode 5, because the crisis is getting close, and I guess now James won't be a part of the crisis, but definitely interested to see what's going on with Supergirl going forward.